What's good, everybody? Now, there's two kinds of people in the world. The first is those who don't like any kind of sweetness in their savory food. And the second, the more adventurous type like me, like just a little bit of sweet in their spicy. This is my honey chili chicken recipe. Now, if you want to create this magnificence, you gotta know that the game lies in the ingredients. Chinese cooking is all about the ingredients, starting with one whole onion for some added sweetness to that honey chili chicken. Next, coming to spring onions, of course, which are a core ingredient in Chinese cooking. In Indian Chinese cooking, moreover, we're gonna use both the head and the rest of the stock. Next, garlic, completely according to your own taste. If you want this more Indian-y, add a lot of garlic. Where there's garlic and Indian Chinese cooking, there's gotta be some good old-fashioned ginger. Next, coming to chilies, according to your own taste, but keep in mind, I like overdoing it with the chilies for this particular recipe. Chinese cooking, soya sauce, goes without saying, adds a lot of much-needed depth and saltiness. Any vinegar of your choice. In this case, I had apple cider vinegar at home. And of course, apple cider vinegar is great for health. And finally, the king of this particular dish, honey. And if you want to go for a healthier option, go for raw honey like I've done here. Now, when we're talking about Chinese cooking, in the BeerBiceps cookbook, there's a few unspoken off rules. The first of which is that any chicken cooked in a Chinese style should always be cut into these little slits like this. For me personally, I feel like chicken diced into cubes is more an Indian cooking thing. So if you want to make great Chinese food, cut the chicken lengthwise. Next, get all your chicken in one bowl, and you can go in with about half a tablespoon of cornstarch. Contrary to the traditional Chinese method of coating the chicken with an unhealthy deep fried coating, about half a tablespoon of cornstarch does the trick. Next, go in with about, say, half a teaspoon of haldi or turmeric, purely for that gorgeous yellow color, and make sure you mix it well. Make sure you don't add too much turmeric because then it won't be a Chinese dish. And finally, just go in with a splash of apple cider vinegar for 1, tenderizing the chicken, and 2, for some added punch in that honey chili chicken. Now, there's very little technique to Chinese cooking, but what there is to Chinese cooking is the story of ingredients. And before you start the cooking process, you want to get all your ingredients ready. And in this case, our sauce thickener is a mixture of cornstarch and water. So make sure that before you begin the cooking process, you gotta keep this gooey goodness ready. As I said earlier, the key to making great Chinese food is keeping all your ingredients ready. Now, how you chop them up is completely up to you, but this is how I do it. So in most Indian Chinese restaurants, you'll see that all the condiments are chopped up lengthwise like this. Now, you can do it however you want, but I feel that Chinese cooking is all about those textures. One way of getting those textures is chopping them up how it's traditionally chopped up, and also don't forget those wet ingredients, baby. If you've watched any of my videos on Chinese cooking, or if you know a thing or two about Chinese cooking, it's all about wok frying. So make sure you get your wok on a super hot flame, and once it's smoking, you can go in with just a little bit of oil. The amount of oil you use is completely up to you and completely up to your calorie cap. But start the process by putting in the heads of those spring onions. Now, these heads are packed with flavor. But just to take the flavor profile a little bit in that sweet direction, I'm gonna go in with that chopped up red onion, or those Indian onions as we know them. Next, coming to my favorite part of Chinese cooking, sliced up garlic. This, I feel, is the base of flavor for all Indian cooking. And where there's garlic, as always, there's juliennes of ginger, finely sliced like this, of course. Next, you can go in with the optional bell peppers or capsicum. Adds to the flavor, fiber, and overall goodness of this dish. Next, super crucial, chilies. Remember, this is honey chili chicken, and without the chilies, it'll be too sweet. So you want to make sure that you go in with a lot of chili, just to make sure that the sweetness from the onions and the honey is completely balanced out. Time to deglaze, baby. And what better way to deglaze Chinese food than with soy sauce? So just makes the whole dish wet, combines all the flavors, and of course adds the much needed saltiness. Now in this particular dish, I wouldn't add too much soy sauce, primarily because I feel that how food looks is as important as how it tastes, and too much soy sauce will make the dish too brown. So in traditional Chinese recipes, the saltiness is provided from the soy sauce and from the fish sauce, both of which are dark sauces, but in this case, I'm just gonna go with good old salt. Next, you can go in with a splash of vinegar. Make sure you don't put too much, but keep in mind that this dish is taken too far in that sweet and spicy direction, and we want to add a bit of punchiness. And now that your base of Chinese flavor is ready, it's a great point to go in with chicken breast. Now here's the issue with Indians and chicken breasts. Most Indians don't realize that chicken breast cooks super fast, and in the process of not realizing this fact, they end up overcooking chicken breast. So in the end, you're left with stringy, chewy, and just overall chicken breast. So if you want some juicy chicken breast, you gotta make sure that you only stir fry it for about a minute. Remember, it cooks super fast, and in this super hot wok, it's gonna cook even faster than you expect. And if you get a kick out of playing with your food, go ahead and play with it. Just make sure chicken on the heat for not more than 1.5 minutes. And finally, we can deglaze the wok with some water, get all that caramelized chicken flavor to get alive and kick in again. And at this point, we can go in with that cornstarch and water mixture just to thicken up the whole concoction. Now I'm going to use a last but not least cliche here and talk about going in with the king of this dish, the honey. Now, some people might consider this a little bit late to go in with the honey, but this is my way of cooking honey chili chicken. And in my experience, cooking honey too much kind of makes it a little bit bitter. On the other hand, going in with the honey a little bit late in the cooking process ensures that the natural flavors of the honey are intact. The last bit of the cooking process is adding the spring onion bodies the way I'm doing here. I don't like cooking these too much because I feel like when they're raw, they add a lot of freshness to the honey chili chicken. Final step, add some salt and pepper to your honey chili chicken just to balance out all that sweetness. Make sure it's mixed well. And after about 5 minutes, I repeat 5 minutes of cooking time, this gorgeousness of a dish is ready. Garnish it with some chopped spring onion to make it look pretty and add some more freshness. But most of all, every time you're eating this, you gotta go, oh yeah!